Another night has shaken Russia's rear as Ukraine unleashed a new wave of massive strikes on strategic targets. A major refinery is now knocked out of operation. Parts of the Russian energy grid have been crippled, and several high-value military sites were hit with precision. Explosions echoed across multiple regions as Ukrainian drones and long-range weapons punched deep into critical infrastructure, leaving Russian authorities scrambling to contain the damage. On the night of December 12th, drones attacked the Slavneft Yanos refinery in Yaroslavl, more than 700 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. This plant is one of the largest in the Russian Federation and produces fuel for the military machine. This enterprise is one of the 5 largest Russian refineries and is capable of processing about 15 million tons of oil per year. This oil refinery also has strategic importance for the Russian economy and military machine, as it produces everything from automotive gasoline to jet fuel and lubricants. The city of Yaroslavl itself is located more than 700 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. In Russia, the Dorogobush thermal power plant in the Smolensk region, which supplies chemical production important for Russia's defense industry, burned down at night, according to Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Ukrainian National Security and Defense Council's Center for Strategic Communications. The Russians' Dorogobush thermal power plant burned down at night. It powers chemical production, which is super important for Russia's defense industry, says Kovalenko. According to him, the Dorogobush chemical plant produces ammonia, nitrates, and nitrogen fertilizers, which are basic components for the production of explosives, in particular ammonium nitrate and nitrate mixtures for military needs. Without power supply from the thermal power plant, their production stops. It also provides a stable energy supply to defense enterprises in the Smolensk region, he adds. Kovalenko also emphasizes that the region is home to industries that work for the Russian military-industrial complex, instrument manufacturing, metallurgical plants, and repair facilities. The thermal power plant partially supports the energy sector of this industrial zone. Dorogobush PJSC is a large industrial enterprise that is part of the Akron Group and is one of the leading producers of mineral fertilizers in Russia. It is the largest employer, taxpayer, and exporter in the Smolensk region. The plant manufactures mineral fertilizers, including nitrogen, ammonium nitrate, and complex fertilizers. According to 2024 data, the volume of commercial production amounted to approximately 2.1 to 2.3 million tons. Ammonium nitrate is mainly used in the agricultural sector, but it also has industrial applications, in particular as a component of some explosives. Because of this, the plant's products, especially ammonium nitrate and nitric acid, are dual-use goods. On the night of December 11th, drones massively attacked Russia. There are likely to be casualties in a number of regions. Also, on the evening of December 10th, a series of explosions rocked the Russian city of Belgorod amid a missile and drone attack, after which a partial blackout began in the city.
It's quite a loud bang. What do you mean?
I have caught it. Before they were quieter.
More footage from Novgorod. The Russians are thrilled by the explosions and are happy that they managed to record it.
Подснято. Сейчас услышим. А что-то не слышно? На нахуй! А я подснял, пацаны!
Russians report that a Ukrainian drone hit an An-26 military transport aircraft. The incident occurred at the Kacha military air base in occupied Crimea, according to the Na Predele Telegram channel, which is linked to Russian pilots. Reports also mention fatalities and injuries at the scene, likely among the aircraft's crew or the airfield's command personnel. It is worth noting that today at 14:52, a Russian monitoring channel reported an air raid alert in the town of Kacha, located near the Russian airbase. The An-26 is a Soviet military transport aircraft developed by the Antonov Design Bureau on the basis of the An-24T. Its first flight took place in 1969, and it entered service in 1975. Production continued until 1986, with more than 1,400 aircraft of various modifications built. The aircraft has a crew of 5 to 6 people and a payload capacity of up to 5.5 tons. Its maximum speed reaches about 540 kilometers per hour, and its flight range is up to 2,500 kilometers. A distinctive feature of the An-26 is its rear ramp, which allows for loading equipment and airdropping cargo. According to the Oryx resource, Russia has lost 3 An-26 aircraft, destroyed or damaged during the full-scale war. In recent days on the Lyman front, drone pilots from Ukraine's 63rd Brigade have dealt a heavy blow to Russian forces. Their precision strikes destroyed a wide array of equipment, including a tank, 5 artillery guns, 2 trucks, 2 SUVs, a van, a quad bike, a motorcycle, multiple loitering drones, and an ammunition depot. Fighting remains active and intense on the Lyman axis, with Russian forces continuing to press Ukrainian defenses and exert pressure in multiple engagement zones. Ukrainian General Staff reports that the Lyman direction is among the most contested, with dozens of combat clashes occurring daily as both sides vie for control of key terrain near frontline settlements. Recent assessments suggest Russian units are maintaining offensive efforts around Lyman and adjacent areas, though Ukrainian forces are holding defensive lines and repelling many assaults. Ukraine's 3rd Corps and other units report repelling roughly 40 attack attempts each day in the Lyman sector, countering claims of enemy breakthroughs and emphasizing that defensive lines remain intact. Ukraine continues to absorb and disrupt Russian offensives amid heavy fighting here, with both sides locked in a grinding battle for control of the broader Donetsk front. The Russian army's fetish for bureaucracy has reached new levels this year, according to a Russian soldier and war blogger. The quantity has tripled over the past year, but the system is geared towards generating false information or fantasy stories about armed conflict. Vault number 8 has previously written about the extreme quantities of paperwork that the Russian army requires its personnel to generate and process. As well as taking up huge amounts of officers' time, the output often does not reflect reality. A further problem is that the Russian army is still, in the year 2025, entirely paper-based, and does not make use of electronic data collection and processing. It all has to be dealt with manually. Vault number 8 writes, some military bureaucratic results of the year that can be summarized now. Document flow has increased 2.5 to 3 times compared to last year, and this has led to nothing except our adaptation as clerks in the Rwanda Defense Army, euphemism to avoid the censors. We have become more resilient as developers and printers. The purpose of military documents, just like in civilian life, is to provide higher headquarters with food for thought. But the increased printing volume has only resulted in us overwhelming our superiors with paper. The division has 5 regiments alone, each with 2.5 to 3 times as much paperwork. And the division has only 1 brain. Secondly, in their hyper-centralization, higher headquarters only request primary data from military units without any preliminary analysis. This complicates the work of the higher-ups. The backwardness of the Rwandan armed forces lies in the fact that documents are transmitted in paper form or as scans, forcing higher headquarters to waste time manually entering data into software, instead of collecting electronic data and using AI for analysis. A huge amount of time is wasted with minimal efficiency. This is assuming that military documents, as information carriers, are supposed to help higher headquarters think correctly. In reality, the military bureaucracy in Rwanda is designed for writing fantasy stories about armed conflict. And the imperfections and complexity of the paperwork help make the fantasy more interesting and colorful. The frequency of inspections went from normal, every 3 months, to increased, once a month, which again led to nothing. Good clerks stopped having any real shortcomings in the first quarter, and then they started making things up. Bad clerks continued to conduct business poorly. In the far rear of the zone, this year they introduced procedures similar to those in the permanent deployment point, home base in Russia, which complicated the conduct of business and combat activities, production of reporting documentation for useless inspections, drill with only the official uniform, the introduction of work hours regulations, where you can see on the office door what service this or that office is ready to provide at what time of day, although the war is raging around the clock, and nobody gives a damn about internal work hours or visitor hours. Complications of logistics. Only a minimum number of vehicles from each military unit, usually 5, are allowed across the border, including trucks carrying ammunition. We don't understand this initiative and consider it the machinations of the heroes of Ukraine. Toward the end of the year, a hunt was launched for those violating uniforms and the rules governing driver-passenger document flow. The motto of the outgoing year in our region: whatever a soldier does, as long as he gets fucked. We carried round things, we rolled square things. Everything here is done in the most idiotic, inefficient, and backbreaking way possible. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated, "Trump is extremely frustrated with both sides of the war. He's sick of meetings for the sake of meetings. He doesn't want more talk, he wants action."
The president is extremely frustrated with both sides of this war, and he's sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk, he wants action, he wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
Perpetually sun-kissed Dmitry Medvedev announced that in 2025, Russia recruited more than 400,000 men into the Ukrainian meat grinder on contract. Slightly fewer than last year, but enough to illustrate the scale of the ongoing mass disposal. Across several regions, enhanced incentives remain in place for those willing to sign the death contract. In some areas, a fighter's annual pay now exceeds 6 million rubles, about $75,000. Essentially 6 to 10 years of an ordinary civilian salary handed out in a single year.
Let's continue our discussion today regarding the recruitment of contract military personnel for the armed forces. We can now definitively state that the objectives set and outlined by the Supreme Commander-in-Chief for this current year have practically been achieved. More than 400,000 troops have arrived at military units. Furthermore, over 34,000 people joined volunteer units. These are the current results. But what to do next, we will discuss with you now.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.